Welcome, everyone, to the Results Driven Podcast. And today we have a very special guest, our good friend Jimmy Ogle out of Oklahoma City. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Well, actually, we got a lot to talk about today, so I'm excited to have you in. And really what we like to start off with is, we were talking about this earlier today. Last time you were out to our office was a couple of years ago, and it's crazy to think that it's been that long because it doesn't feel like it's been a couple of years. But you first sent someone out to our workshop. What do you remember when that was? Was that in 22?
I think it was about 3 years ago. Yeah.
So that was in 22. Okay. So you sent someone out to the workshop. Let's rewind real quick. What did the business look like? What did the organization look like at that point in time?
Yeah. So right before we did that, I just kind of was cleaning up a toxic environment in our office. I had to fire my previous COO and fire our top producer, and it was a mess. And I had an assistant at that time who was really great organizational and leadership, and so I actually was promoting her to be our new COO. She just didn't really have real estate experience to it, and at that time we were doing a lot of traveling, and so I thought I would send her out here to kind of like a jump start on some real estate knowledge and training. And had no idea that 3 years later we'd still be a part of it. Honestly, when we went, like we were going to do the 2-day, and that was it. She came out, and you guys won her over with the pitch on the the small group.
Yeah.
And at first was like, no, let's not. And then just diving in it more, we're like, we'll give that a shot for I think 6 months or whatever it was. And it's been a game changer. So we've stuck with it. But yeah, that's kind of where we started. Just was kind of using it as a jump start to get her knowledge on the real estate business and what it looked like.
Well, that's an interesting comment. So I think that's one thing that's important for everyone that's listening to this to know and understand that teaching the leadership skill set and communication skill set and like emotional intelligence, like that takes a really long time to develop. And so a lot of times people come to me and they're like, "Hey, Josh, I'm looking to hire like a general manager or COO or someone in leadership." And they're like, should I go and hire someone who's been in this business for a long time? And it's like, well, there's a couple of things. One, don't hire a failed entrepreneur. Right. So that's one lesson that we've learned. Okay. So
don't hire an entrepreneur, period.
Right. So we don't want to go that route. So we don't want to go to someone who's been wholesaling for a year or 6 months and think that, oh, wow, they'll naturally know it. Typically they aren't going to have the leadership skill set, the communication skill set, the emotional intelligence that it takes to be a high performing leader. So we always recommend that you go find someone who knows those things, who has those skill sets, because teaching the real estate side is so much easier.
Yeah.
So I love that you were already in that mindset at that time.
Well, I don't want anyone, honestly, I don't want anyone with real estate experience. I've learned my lesson that I don't want anyone who's entrepreneurial at all. Especially as long as we've been in the business, like if we put out a post, looking for people that we're hiring, whatever, the people that you get come and look for you are people that have tried wholesaling, they want to learn it, or things like that. And that's just not who we're looking for. We want people that are, want to be on a team.
They want a career,
not just to come in and learn our business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and I've learned, like I said, learned that the hard way. But, so yeah, we can teach the real estate stuff, but you're right. Like someone who, with the leadership, with the sales experience, but in a different industry, depending on the position, obviously, that's what we look for.
Yeah. At that point in time with that team, you were doing a reset. Were you guys doing primarily in-person appointments, or were you doing everything over the phone, or what did that look like at that point?
No. So, prior to COVID, every single appointment was in person.
Okay.
That's just phone rang. We went through for the appointment. Really, there was no conversation. It was just, you're interested in your house. Great. When can we come out? Did in-person sales process. And it worked, we were good at it. And did a high volume of that. And then COVID hit, and, people weren't letting you in their houses. And so we switched to doing a lot of stuff over the phone, and really kind of the same we do today, kind of a hybrid. Mostly over the phone, but there was, the occasional that you'd still need to go to in person.
Right.
And so we had switched 2020 to that. And then, as things started loosening up, we kind of went back to, do a lot more in person, but still, we had learned the over the phone and learned we could do a lot more. And so really 2020, we started doing a lot of stuff over the phone. And even at one point, we started hiring VAs as acquisitions and did that for a while. The issues we ran into with that though is just like the market knowledge and things like that.
Slang's one thing I've really seen hold people back from that. Yeah.
And so we were doing a bit over the phone at that point.
Okay, cool. So when you had sent someone out here, went back, I know eventually you guys ended up jumping into the coaching program, but what were some of the first things that you really focused on implementing, regardless if it was immediate from the workshop or if it was in the coaching program? What was the big focus right away?
The big focus was the sales process.
Okay.
The scripts and just the process in general. Because while, we had, previous sales training that we had done, just, it was more of just the overall, mindset and psychology, whereas this is, just a lined out process.
Yeah, right. So it's more of like a check the box type of checklist style.
Yeah.
We go through this and then we go through that, and it just really cleared the air. Okay. Makes sense. So we implemented this and you bring someone else in to basically build this from the ground up. But was the team just her at that point in time? Did she kind of sit in all the seats, or what did it look like, and kind of how did it morph? Like, where did you end up at that point?
No, so she was basically sales manager, and her title was director of operations, but more or less sales manager.
Okay,
I was still highly involved in the business at that time, but more of on a higher level, and then she would sit in the sales manager position. And so we had probably at least 2, if not 3, acquisitions closers at that point. And this will be so many years ago, it's hard to remember exactly, but we've tried. Or we've had in-person fault specialists, so VAs, fault specialists, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But since that time, for sure, try to have 2 or 3 closers on staff.
Yeah. Okay. And hired her as director of operations. Did she end up sitting in that seat then? Did she eventually work to that?
Yeah. So, as things grew and we were better at, the whole process and stuff. And then at one point we even did hire a sales manager. And so summer of 23 is when I started pulling away and just, stress from another business and just some family things. We chose to go traveling for a bit. And so I was able to manage the business, virtually and truly kind of take a step back. And that was nice because, we took a 3-month trip to Greece. And
awesome,
which was kind of like a bucket list thing. And the program we did, like our oldest daughter was about to age out from being able to do the program, and so it was kind of a now or never thing. And I think if we wouldn't have done that, I don't know if I ever would have stepped back at the level that I've been able to from the business. Mm-hmm. And so that was a good
it kind of forced you in a way.
It forced me, and it was amazing because when you're in the office, it's easy for your team. They know the answers, but they come to you to, just to justify that they're correct or whatever before possibly making a mistake. And so whenever you pull away, and yes, I was working, but I was in a different time zone. So except for meetings, I was kind of working at a different time zone, different schedule. But from day one, I saw my team really step up. Mm-hmm. And just, as soon as they knew like I was out of office, like they just stepped up.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see. And like still to this day, they've kept that up.
Yeah. So as a business owner, someone who's worked, how long have you been in the industry at this point?
11 years.
Yeah. So 11 years in the industry. What did that feel like?
It was great, man. Like, for one, being able to travel with your family like that, like, was just amazing to be able to step away and the business still keep going. But just to see something that you've been a part of for day one, and for the first, probably 5 years, I was a one-man show, except I had an assistant at times, but, and just to see what it had grown into, it felt great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, diving a little more, I don't know if I'd necessarily call this in the weeds, but for lack of a better term, we'll call it diving a little more into the weeds. So a few years ago, we hit reset. We find someone on the team who's got the leadership skill set that we want to develop over time. And so you jump into the coaching program. Was the coaching program primarily meant to groom her up to get her the experience and kind of be like the helping hands? That way you didn't necessarily have to be there 100% of the time, or like walk through the mindset and the thought process with that.
Yeah. That was kind of the continued thought, again, the whole reason we came out here was to get her that kind of jump start, and then learning more about the small group coaching was to get her that continued training. And I would say in the beginning, I would be on the coaching calls with her, and then I kind of stepped away and just kind of let that be to, groom her, and for her to just be able to step more and more into leadership of the business.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome, man. So that's awesome. So the trip to Greece, did you guys do any other trips?
Yes, we did 3 months in Greece, and then we lived in our RV for 9 months.
Yeah. Okay. And so did you travel much with the RV, or did
Oh
you
yeah.
stay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were all over the place. So most of the time was spent in Arizona and California.
Okay.
Just chasing good weather,
Yeah. I don't blame you for that.
But I mean, we thought we were going to do it much longer than we did, but just our kids were ready to get back in activities. So we came back and bought a house, but it was amazing to be able to do.
Yeah. Dude, that is cool. That is 2 major bucket list items I feel like are on a lot of people's lists, and you've been over a period of what, a year or 2 years, you were able to knock that out?
Yeah, so I mean, it was basically all in a calendar 12 months. July of 23, we sold everything because we thought we were going to travel much longer. So we sold our house, sold our cars, sold our couch, everything, got rid of everything, which was actually harder, I feel like, to get rid of everything than it was to move back into a house. But yeah, it was amazing. So we were gone about 12 full months.
Nice.
And just, nomads.
Yeah, that is super cool.
It was fun.
I don't think I've actually met someone who took the leap to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys did. So that's like major, like hats off to you. Like I don't know if people fear it because it's a risk thing, or like
people definitely fear it, and people would put that fear on you. I mean, I can remember, we're a part of a mastermind too. And I can remember people at that mastermind be like, your business is going to fail, or, this is going to happen or whatever. I'm like, don't put that on me.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And it didn't fail while you were out.
No.
Yeah.
No, it did really good. Especially the first, 6 or 7 months. I think it probably did better. Towards the end, it started definitely trending the wrong way. And which is why I'm back in the business now. But yeah, in the beginning, it was doing really good.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I think a good segue. Spent a year really stepping away. Did really well. Things started to shift. I know some of the story. Obviously, the person you put in an operator position. I guess walk through what happened with that shift, and let's talk about where we are today.
Yeah, so not really 100% sure where the shift happened, because like I said, I was not in office, but I've heard multiple things of stuff, but I think ultimately it came down for just the person in the position loved leadership but did not love the real estate business,
the industry,
or not necessarily real estate, but a sales and marketing business. Like we're not a real estate business, we're a sales and marketing business,
right?
And it takes the right individuals to be a part of that. I mean, I compare it to like, a car dealership, right? First of the month, you're starting all over again. Slate's clean, and you're starting all over. And so high marketing, high stakes business. And I think that just wore on her. And I think she just lost the passion for it, and which is okay. But just kind of the perfect storm. We had just let go of our sales manager in like December, and then that happened probably in February, March timeframe. And which honestly was kind of welcome, because again, the business was kind of going the wrong direction, which I think is because the passion was lost. And then honestly, I've kind of had fun stepping back in. It's been fun, because I was kind of banging my head on the wall. I mean, I've been looking at acquiring another business or whatever, which is just such a slow game, and it's been fun to step back in and like I said, I had never really dug in deep to the results driven process. I kind of had the 30,000 foot view of it, but so some of the stuff I'm kind of learning for the first time, and so it's kind of fun.
No, that's cool. So a couple of things here. I was going to ask you what, like a lot of people, when stuff gets hard, I mean, like put this into perspective. You had just reached the pinnacle stage, right? And you were there for a good while. and you step away, and then there's kind of, I don't even want to call it a crash because it's really not a crash. It's kind of like a minor setback, really is what it is. But it's a big enough setback to where a lot of people might throw in the towel.
Yeah.
What made you keep going?
Honestly, I think sometimes that's probably my one of my superpowers. I mean, just been entrepreneur for 20 years. Basically, I've never really had a real job in my adult life. Like I've always been an entrepreneur, and so just my ability just to keep going no matter how bad things get. And so, I mean, it's just not an option. I mean,
yeah. What do you focus on? Because I think a lot of times this is a great segment, and I appreciate you being open and a little vulnerable here. So when a lot of people get to those stages, there's seasons in business. There's great times, there's tough times. And when times are a little tougher, it's easier to listen a little more to the noise. It might be friends, it might be family who are kind of in our ear. That might be whispering doubts. It might be the media. It might be, social media. It might be whatever the noise is. Do you have a framework or a methodology or like anything that comes to mind when time gets tough? You call it a superpower, which is awesome. I love that. What helps you lean into that superpower? What do we focus on? What do you focus on?
Just trying to shut out the noise, ignore it, and just focus on what's the next step that you can take to keep moving forward.
Focusing on the controllables, basically.
Don't just bury your head in the sand. Like just keep moving forward. Like everything always works out. Yeah. So if you're, and I mean, part of having a small business, is sometimes you're going to worry about, are you going to be able to make payroll or whatever? But the thing is, as long as you keep moving forward, it always works out.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of this. There's a book called 3 Feet from Gold. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but that reminds me of the mentality that really the lesson of this book teaches is there's this gold miner. He's got this well thought out, elaborate plan to go dig for gold. And he digs and digs for years, doesn't strike any gold, gives up on the plan. Mm-hmm. He says, this isn't working. I'm going to go sell it. Sells it to the local trash man. Trash man's like, I don't know anything about digging gold. This seems like a good plan. I'll just keep following the plan. Yeah. Digs 3 more feet, strikes gold. And far too often, like 99% of people quit right before their breakthrough. But what people don't realize is shit gets the hardest right before the breakthrough.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've never really shared a whole lot about why we moved home, but because we had moved to California in 2017. So part of my real estate career was 2 years in LA, and things just got tough out there. And also we were wanting to buy rental properties and stuff. And so we ultimately came to the decision to move home, but things were really tough. But that was kind of the end of being a one-man show. Cause as soon as we moved home and start, like I said, just kept taking the next move, that is about the same time that the business started growing and we started adding team members, and I was able to build a true business. Yeah. But we could have easily just given up and went to a different industry or got a job or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Yeah. I didn't know you were out in LA at for a short stint there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very different real estate markets.
Yeah, it was fun. So, we had some rough times, and so we started in real estate in 2014, and then I still had other businesses on the side. And so, like when I first started real estate, like I had a trucking business that we did Amazon stuff overnight. So we're midnight to 8 a.m. doing that stuff, and then I would go 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and do real estate. And my kids were super little at the time, so I'd fall asleep, on the floor playing with them or whatever, and I'd get 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. And so that was the beginning, and it was really rough. Mom passed away during that time. Decided to move to LA, and going out there, and it was just so different of a real estate landscape. It re-energized me for the business. Mm-hmm. Obviously bigger profits, but just different type of real estate, or structures, and obviously, it's just beautiful out there. And so we had a good time. It re-energized me for the business, and then so moving home, when we came back to Oklahoma, I mean, in that time frame is when, I think we added 60 rentals in like 18 months. Yeah. And just head down, just working.
Well, so that you bring up something there, you talked about energizing you for the business. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of realized even now, you said that you've been energized, but could it be the fact that you made a major life change over the last 12 months? You spent 3 months out of the country. You spent another 9 months in an RV. And I guess a question I have, and maybe it does play a role in this. Maybe it doesn't, but Tony Robbins always talks about how in order to change your mental state, you have to first change your physical state.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times if people are depressed or they're facing like anxiety or stressed out, one way that I've always combated that is moving, like doing exercise.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when there's a hardship in the business, I'm a big believer that when I have winning habits outside of business, when I go to work, I win at work too.
Yeah.
And so I think what's really helped me is being focused on my fitness and my health helps energize me in that regard. And I don't know if like you going to LA, that was a change of physiology, making the big move to go to the RV and live out of the country, a big move. Do you think that played a role at all?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. So, my wife tells me all the time, like when we have something big and exciting going in our lives, that like I just get almost giddy in life, right?
Yeah.
So like I've just got to keep excitement in my life, and so sometimes when things get monotonous, like I've just got to, change something up, and so just being aware enough when you get in those phases, that and knowing yourself well enough to how you can fix it. But I'm the same way with movement, and I haven't been the greatest at taking care of my fitness over the years. And so, but like I have that urge sometimes whether I'm stressed or things aren't going well, like I can just feel it in my body. Like I just feel like I need to go run.
Oh yeah.
And so,
well, you've recently, like within the last few years, you've lost quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, but probably the best shape of my life right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence. Yeah. Awesome. So here we are. We had to step back in. And you've been back in the business for 3-4 months?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you working on right now? What are some of the top priorities?
Getting sales manager trained. So we got one hired. She's been training in acquisitions, and she's doing amazing at that.
Killing it in acquisitions, right? Yeah.
Great fit. She's going to be amazing. And so that's what brings us back out here to the 2-day, got her coming to go through it. And since I hadn't went through it, I came with her. And, so that's what we're focused on right now, is getting that in place.
Cool. Okay. And then maybe this is a little too early. Is the thought that she's going to become like a general manager type of position or operations manager, or are you going to probably keep her in sales management and then look to find, are you wanting to get back to that pinnacle stage, I guess is really the key question.
I think I'm going to kind of have a tad bit different of a structure, whereas my office manager, which she's kind of over TC project management, and also we have a real estate brokerage, which is just our team. Mm-hmm. And then we have the sales side. So what my plan is, it's probably a little bit different than your guys' structure, but still following the structure, but just a little bit different to spread out the leadership, so that way hopefully we don't end up in that position again.
Yeah.
Is I will stay in as the actual, director of operations or whatever, but a little further removed, and then have my office manager who's managing the business from everything from the TC side of the business, and then other than that, everything from close onward, and then everything before the whole sales process and everything, the sales manager would manage. And so she basically will manage kind of the wholesale business and the whole acquisitions process. And then my office manager will be over my project manager, mm-hmm. property management, all that.
Makes sense. Okay. So a huge note, and it sounds as if like this is kind of a lesson learned, where we don't want to have one single point of failure. And that's really what you're talking about, is like if for some reason someone decides to leave, like stuff happens. The people either lose a passion for the industry, like what you had experienced with your previous person, or someone might have like an illness in the family and they got to step aside for a short period of time. The point is we want to have contingency plans to make sure that if something happens, if our goal is to remove ourselves from the business, to make sure we don't have to step back in full time times 2. You know what I mean? It's wearing 2 different hats or even 3 different hats. So I love the fact that that's your plan for this go around, and we're excited to obviously help you get there. Let's wrap this up with what's one thing that you would give someone, a piece of advice, who is where you were, whether it was early on in the real estate business or even when you first started with the results driven. What would be a piece of advice you would give someone?
I just was, I don't know if it's a quote or video I saw or whatever, just saw this the other day. And it was saying something about like, you hire coaches or whatever to go and tell you something's wrong or whatever. But honestly, like you already know what's wrong. You're going and paying that coach because you want him to tell you something else. So like, do what it is that is messed up, or maybe you're not doing or whatever. Like, do that thing because it is the thing that you need to do. And so, a lot of times I think we wanted to find the shortcut or whatever. And so, dig in, do that thing, because I guarantee you that's
rip the Band-Aid off.
That's what's going to change the business. Stop always trying to chase the next thing. And, because ultimately, I mean, we know what's wrong with the business or whatever it is that, you're focused on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we don't need coaches and things like that, because I find a lot of importance in that, but most of the time we already know what's wrong and how to fix it. We just being lazy or whatever.
Or it could be uncomfortable. Like, let's be honest. A lot of time, I always say, we as human beings, we're always looking to move towards pleasure or move away from pain.
Yeah.
But we will much quicker avoid pain than we will ever pursue pleasure. So I think that's kind of what you're saying. The reality is like stepping back in or handling this tough conversation. We avoid those things because it might be uncomfortable. Yeah. But rip the Band-Aid off.
Like for me, one of my biggest weaknesses, honestly, is probably not letting people go soon enough.
Yeah.
I let it go thinking things will change or whatever. And honestly, sometimes if you start having those thoughts about an employee, I mean, I'd say 70% of the time, you probably just need to make a change.
Yep.
There are times that, you can fix it, whatever, but I let that go too long. That's kind of what led us down, starting over with the business the very first time. I mean, I knew that the guy needed to go, but I just let it go. Probably more out of laziness than anything, because I knew I was going to have to step back in. And I mean, it got really toxic.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the words of wisdom, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for jumping on the show, man. I had a great conversation with you. Excited for this workshop. Excited to continue the building phase here. And thank you for all of sharing your journey and the advice.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
If you're looking to build a team similar to what Jimmy did, we've put together a free resource that will shortcut the guesswork for you. It's our free hiring guide, and it breaks down how we've attracted, how we vet, how we hire top talent in our real estate investing company. So grab your copy. In the show notes, there's going to be a link, and you can start building that team to help you dominate your market. And most importantly, give you back the freedom that you got into this business to begin with. As always, keep driving results, and I'll see you on the next episode.